Welcome back to our Berlin studio as Mad Lions pick yet another win today in Spring 2022. And Elyoya, thank you so much for joining me. I want to say that it quickly became more of a fight between you and the Baron. Quick words on the weird interactions we saw, actually, where you try a second steal, but you get just stopped from the knock-up from the Laure. How was that for you? I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, me neither, but it's a 5v6 like the game. I'm playing also against Nashor knockup. No, but like, yeah, junglers, man, we have such a rough life. Like, we get flamed the most in solo queue, we have to smite good, or we get also flamed. But in exchange, we have the most broken role in the game, so it's not everything is bad.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some. That's how it works usually. Quick words about the game itself, because we saw two new champions today. Late scaling champions also, if I may say, Viego and Xayah. Xayah being actually really high prio. Do you think we're going to see more of these champions with the new patch?
Yeah, for sure. I think Xayah is gonna have more presence on these games. And about the game, I feel like it was a pretty shaky game. I think we should have closed it up way earlier. Like, we had a really good lead, and we are always not being able to close it consistently.
Could you give me more specifics, maybe, on what made it difficult this game?
Yeah, I think on mid game we are really greedy. Everyone, like, we are just recalling different times, and that makes us not being able to pressure them up. And that really slows down a lot. Also, we are not. I would say that the difference between this Mad Lions and the previous year is that this year it feels like we are a bit more scared of dying, but previous year we would int it and like we wouldn't really mind. It feels like this year, like, we are a bit more scared of dying, but it's not a bad thing. Like, for sure, not. Like, we are playing. I would say the game is lower, but also we are not dropping as much gold as we would last year. But yeah, it's just different.
All right. Is it something, if I may, is it also something you see in scrims? Because sometimes it feels like teams play more scared on official games than they do in scrims. So do you see any similarities between your gameplay in trainings and what you display on stage?
No, I think it's we also do it in scrims. I think it's something that we may just play it like this, or we also can also like change it and just take off that fear of like dying in official game on the stage and just int it.
Yeah, it takes time. And also, I think it makes sense with something you said in a featured video that we played earlier, because you were mentioning that with humanoid living, there's a lot of things that need to change, and especially in the leadership and the role that you have right now in Mad Lions, because you have to gain a bigger role. And today you got the Kia player of the game, so I want to know how things have been going with your new role within the Mad Lions in terms of communication and how it translates in game.
I mean, yeah. I mean, thank you for the MVP. I don't think I really deserved it, but thank you so much. And about the leadership, I feel like this year I have way more responsibility than last year. Last year, Humanoid was in charge of a lot in the mid game, and this year it's on me, and like, it's mostly on me, but also like on everyone at the same time. But I would say that that's why our games are so shaky. I'm not still as good as a leader as he was, so I just need to improve and be better.
And you said it, this is the year to prove yourself, Elyoya. Well, thank you so much for the interview. Congrats on picking up the win today, and good luck tomorrow in day 2. And now, for more on this game, back to Quickshot at the desk. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Laure. Elyoya, this is the year to prove yourself. Nonsense, bro. Rookie to back-to-back champion. So now being the lead decision maker on the squad. I mean, fantastic Mad Lions pick up a pretty dramatic win. Welcome back to the AD Caedrel, as well as Dagda are joining me. And I want to immediately start talking about the draft. First and foremost, Armut's very first ever game on Akali, naturally after Kimtink gets nerfed, of course. But more importantly, I think taking a look at XL's picks. First time we're seeing that Viego, we're seeing the Senna as well, paired with the Galio. Caedrel, initial thoughts on how the draft played out?
Well, it was very interesting from XL because their comp is very well-rounded. They had a lot of good responses, but so did Mad Lions, right? First pick Senna shows the priority that some of the EU teams would have, because when a patch happens, you have 2 different scrim metas, where obviously teams have different scrim blocks with each other. One team comes in with a different meta to the other, and maybe XL have such high prior on Senna that it's worth first picking. The Akali pick, of course, was good. It's good into Gwen. The way the matchup works is Gwen wins 1-6, and Akali takes over after 1 item. Surprising to see Armut pull it out.
Yeah, I do like the Gwen pick, though. This is actually a composition that we see a lot in the LPL with the Gwen and the Jhin, because it's like the MC Hammer comp, right? It's because you can't touch this. They just stay in the front line the entire time and like, cool, we're going to completely murder your front line and you can't do anything about ours. So I really like this. Usually we see it with a Jhin in the LPL though, because it like enables them a little bit better with the curtain call. Having the Senna here facilitates that a lot, but I really liked the amount of zone control that came out from Mad Lions, right? We got to see the Victor come through, the Varus come through, you've got a ton of like Pio coming through with the Lee Sin, the Nautilus as well. It made it really difficult to actually get this like front to back style fight that XL were looking for. That's why we saw Finn looking for a ton of these flanks that just never worked out for them.
And you're completely right, and Armwood's was the one finding the flanks onto the backline. The only real peel you have there is the Galio. Varus Prio, a little bit surprising to me. It's being picked a little bit in the LCK, more so kind of poke-ish Varus with Hail Blades. Unforgiven going for the on-hit, but overall I think both drafts pretty even.
Yeah, pretty even, of course. I think there may be a problem with your microphone. If there is, I do apologize to everyone. We got a couple of replays to work through. Let's pull up the very first Baron fight, because for the first 20-odd minutes of gameplay, a couple of kills were traded back and forth. It was relatively slow, and the two pivotal Barons, of course, played out through this game. Now, Dagda, start us off on this replay.
I actually love this call from Excel, right? You see the Dragon coming up, Mad want to try and play towards it, but Excel draw Mad out of their comfort zone, out of that vision to try and take this. But again, this is where you start to see the cracks form. Finn is off on the flank, he's not able to get into the right position, and you're constantly having this dive coming through from Armut, Elyoya, this moving tank that's rolling forward that you just can't deal with. And by the time Finn comes in, this is where you get to see the power of the Gwen, where you got that immunity with the Hollowed Mist. Maybe you can make that work, but unfortunately it's too little too late. Mad have already won this fight.
And the interesting thing that plays out now is Mad think they have tempo on the map. Let's push mid, let's get this mid tier to XL. XL have the base, so we can get a free dragon, a free tower, everything's dandy on the map. We won the fight as well. And XL read the play and they're like, hang on a second. They're using their tempo on the bot side of the map. Let's start up Nash again, force them to come to us, make it so they can't base. And Galio and Zinza arrive just in time. Now it's all of a sudden a 5v5 again, except Armwood's super far away. So XL reading the map very well, and of course, Elyoya comes in and steals it. So the play kind of falls apart there. If XL got that and got out, fantastic. Steal comes in, Mad Lions get the third dragon, and they get the Baron.
I almost wonder if that's why Elyoya ended up winning part of the POG vote. Fantastic microphone there, nice upgrade.
You like it, huh?
I do need to move us on to the next replay, because of course, in between these two replays, there was a soul that was picked up by XL, and we thought, okay, by Mad Lions, we thought this is where Mad Lions are going to win the game. However, XL brought themselves back in with another great fight.
Yeah, and you can see the zone control coming out. Mad Lions kind of overcommit here. Baron spawning, so they want to defend their own vision. They want to make sure XL can't walk in, but you can't touch this. As you said, Dagda, right? Marcoon is untouchable. Finn comes through the side and is also untouchable, so Mad Lions just have to run away. The chase comes in, and then it becomes another Baron start, another 50-50. Finn does end up dying here, I believe, but the fight kind of ensues on.
Yeah, you can see the power of this composition right here, where you've got that back line, Patrick constantly healing up, but unfortunately, once they step out of line, that's where Mad are able to come back. Armor with these great plays to dive in at the back line, get the double kill. It's this that's really starting to cause issues for XL when they're trying to play out this style.
Yeah, TP comes back in from Nuke Duck as Mad Lions think they have a Baron, right? So it's kind of like a 3v3 stare down, but the problem is the Predator Viego. Look how strong Nuke Duck is. He zones away Recurring and Figurement completely, and this is where the horror comes in for Elyoya. I think he gets knocked up as the Baron would have been smited anyway. I feel like he might have been half a second too late to jump over the wall, but still, it's funny.
It is very funny. You hear Elyoya saying, I'm playing 6v5. Even Baron wants to get in the way. We do have only a limited amount of time left, and I need to highlight some of the standout performances. I thought in particular, Nuke Duck's Viego was very impressive, but when I look across to the Mad Lions, Unforgiven on Varus, he went 6, 0, and 7, was really able to put a lot of damage down, and Unforgiven's one of the players we're looking at on the Mad Lions to step up to help them.
Oh yeah, huge consistency. Shown a variety of champions, shown that he's very, very consistent in not dying, which is a good thing, but also could be a bad thing. Maybe Elyoya in the interview saying, we need to int more, we need to die more, we need to go in and jump in, and he misses the days maybe of having Carzzy dying level 2 all-inning and seeing if he can win the lane. Unforgiven, very reserved, calm, collected in fights, and so low deaths and very high impact.
Yeah, and especially against the teams that we're seeing come through from XL, the fact you've got that strong front line, you've got to worry about Veigar cages, it's actually really difficult for the Varus to get in and deal that damage. So on-hit Varus with 33% of the damage in this style of game is actually really, really hard. It speaks volume to the talent of this guy.
It really does. 81% kill participation. Mad Lions coming out with the win. Definitely closely contested. And right now, we're going to move on to a revitalized Team Vitality. They're looking to continue their win streak in the next matchup versus a struggling SK Gaming. We've also got a new caster duo, Drakos, Guldborg. Take it away.
So much Quickshot. We are. This is brand new. It's our first time on stage. And if we're lucky, we won't look like Vitality in week 1. We'll look like Vitality,
Week
or
2.
sound like, you probably won't see us very much in game, Vitality week 2, which is an important distinction because if Vitality week 2 shows up today, I think it's safe to say, Guldborg, that this is expected to be a pretty one-sided matchup.
I completely agree. I think it would be an upset if SK could come out on top ahead today. Obviously, as an SK fan, if you're out there, you're obviously rooting for them. However, I don't know how many there are, but...
That's true. We'll see if today is another day where the light in their eyes slowly dies and fades away.
Oh, Jesus.
A little too dark for in the season, but luckily the champ select's going to cut me off, so I won't continue with that particular tale. Instead, we'll look forward to the draft, look forward to the changes that we're seeing. Senna already a new pick rising up, Veigar coming out as well. We'll have to see what the focus is going to be. Anytime there's a new patch, there's a potential for crazy, crazy picks, and maybe it's the insanity that SK can bring today to help them find a win over Vitality.
I completely agree with you. And also on the side of Vitality, you said it yourself, completely revamped here in week 2. So hopefully they're looking to continue that momentum and show that week 1 was a fluke and it was not actually week 2 that was.
Yeah, I think they're definitely looking for it. The question is, have they got the performance to back it up, which is what we'll find out as we have a very, very joyous anthem.
I'm down with this. I'm vibing with it. I forget about the champ select.
All right, bumping. This is the closest we're going to get to the club in COVID times, although it's Berlin, so it's people have been taking risks, safe to say. Lisa and TF going to be banned out. See what kind of compositions are going to come through. Obviously, easy to look at what Excel brought to the table, Mad Lions brought to the table, and say a lot of team fighting is on the table in this meta in general, but see if either of these teams has a different strategy up their sleeve.
Yeah, I think drafting for SK as well have been a pivotal point in, I won't say their victories, but definitely in their evolution as a team, because it was something they really struggled with in the first week, finding out what they really want to do with their composition. Who's the strong side? Who's the weak side? I will say towards week 2, it seemed like they had a better idea of what they wanted to do. We saw the Caitlyn, we saw the 6. Unfortunately, the execution did not follow up after the Fury.
Absolutely true. Always very hard to judge how good a team is at a lot of the aspects of League of Legends when they fall so far behind in the early game, when they struggle there, because when you're already coming in at a deficit in the mid game, in the late game, it's already so difficult to play the game that it's hard to evaluate how good you actually are at so many of those skills. But right now, as long as SK are going to struggle in the early game, we know it's going to be pretty difficult against Vitality, especially when Perkz is blind picking the Corki, which he's incredibly talented.
Honestly, we've seen a lot of priority onto the Corki from Perkz. The only reason he didn't get it 2 times last week was because G2 first picked it away from him. But it's been a champion that they've been very... what do you say? Not hesitant to show they have the priority on this champion for sure. Usually they pair it up with an AD as well. They love to get a decent rotation in for Carzzy, but on the other side of SK, they take that matchup, the Orianna into the Corki, which was the exact matchup that Perkz played the other time around.
Yeah, remember, if for whatever reason you missed out on Vitality versus G2, Perkz absolutely obliterated Caps in that mid lane 1v1. He was the Orianna in the Corki, so we'll see if Sertuss can do something similar to Perkz this time around. Certainly has been set up, and a nice thing of your opponent blind picking their mid laner is you are going to get that reliable counter. Interestingly here, Jezu going for the Xayah. Would not surprise me to see that lethality Xayah come out. It seems like it's been so strong in the matches that we have seen it, even if it's still not #1 priority in a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, I wonder if Astralis and SK has been trimming each other, because this is something that both these two teams has now shown priority on. Obviously, I think it is going to be the lethality you are talking about, but what is the response going to be from the side of Team Vitality? Jarvan is up and available, would be a good pickup considering the Thresh has been taking off the table. Viego is also one of them you can go for. We're talking about the Lovers duo here on the side of Team Vitality. They want to pick that away from them. Rakan has been picked up from Labrov.
Look, you got to split up the lovers sometimes. They need a little time apart.
They need a little time apart.
This is the
like,
lovers
it's not
quarrel.
you, it's me.
We'll see. And I'll just say that I'm excited for Labrov on any playmaker. I think he's had a solid split this far. We've seen a lot of good Thresh games. I want to see more good Rakan games. Remember the last time he played Rakan, it was into Hilly's Zillion. He went Predator. They were winning, and then they lost. So I would love to see a version where he's actually able to close it out, where they're able to build leads, hold on, and outscale. But now, I'm looking at this composition and I see a ton of powerful champions, a ton of poke, good scaling. Vitality have drafted so many strong individual components, but when you've got an Orianna Shockwave, when you got Xayah Feathers, I'm wondering if we get the SK Gaming Wombo combo. I'm wondering if we get a ball delivery system coming through here.
Yeah, I mean, an engaged support wouldn't be a bad pickup here. Rakan greatly struggles with a lot of CC to come through. Obviously, there's still a lot open to Nautilus Leona, but they decide to just pick up the Nautilus here for themselves. But we can always see what Team Vitality is trying to get together as a composition. You have a lot of poke already. You got the Corki, you got the Jayce, a bit of engage, disengage, whatever you want to call it, with the Rakan too. So moving into the second ban phase, either AD carries will be taking off the table. And yep, there we have it. Ezreal being the one taken away. And then obviously on the side of Vitality, they can start removing some of the junglers or the top laners should they see that fit.
Yeah, and I like the Ezreal ban away, limiting some of the safer bot side options. Obviously, Xayah and Nautilus will have a lot of kill pressure, especially post-6. Ezreal, one of the few champions that can sit pretty comfortably alone in that bot lane, thence freeing Labrov up to roam. So limiting some of those options, maybe hoping that they can lock these guys down into a bot lane 2v2. Lucian also coming out here.
Very interesting.
I'm wondering if there's some Xayah solo lane action that we haven't seen, or if Jenax or Sertuss are actually confident enough to play Lucian solo lane, even after it's been so clearly buffed for bot.
Yeah, it might be Lucian up towards the solo lane, might be a good match into the Jayce, just keeping that range at bay there. But moving on further down, junglers getting taken off the table as well. Olaf, I think it's a very good takeaway from Selfmade. He had a phenomenal performance on that champion last week where he was able to just start the Drake stacking already from like 5 or 6 minutes into the game. It was really nice to see. So SK coming in with some respect for the Vitality jungler.
Absolutely. See, I wouldn't mind getting back to the Qiyana, but remember the last Qiyana game was in that oh-so-tragic week 1. But I personally am always a fan of the more explosive, more greedy junglers. Olaf, just an all-around powerhouse in that early game. Scales up not too bad these days. But Malphite going to be the ban away here, respecting how many champions on this team would love to have a lot of attack speed. Malphite would obviously take all of that away. And also, Jenax, you're up against a Jayce. You want to play weak side. Malphite definitely one of the better options. Gragas feels like pick number 2 so often, and he will go for it.
Yeah, I do believe that is Jenax's most played champion as well. He often gets left for this weak side assignment, which also means that SK Gaming, they want to show up down towards that bottom side, which is something I'm really happy to see. We'll get further into that once we enter the game itself. And on the side of Vitality, well, if you're playing for your solo laners, usually you want to play with a bot lane that's a bit more facilitating. So the Jhin wouldn't be a bad pickup here, and Hover comes through, there's the lock-in, and yet there we have it. Now it's only the jungler to be left, and
Poke City.
I mean, you can go for the Viego here. It's a power pickup that is still available from the side of Vitality. Obviously, it doesn't really give you that engage for what you need right now, but it's something that we know Selfmade has preferred in the past.
Well, yeah, relying solely on Rakan for engage, definitely not a bad deal. Am I being baited? I believe I am not being baited.
Whoa! Okay, we're getting some Gwen potentially in the jungle action here. Now, this is something we have seen in the past.
Guldborg, I know it's the first time we've cast together.
Okay.
But I need you to tell me right now, is Gwen jungle a thing? I've never seen this. Is this real? Guldborg?
Yeah, it definitely, I believe when she got released, she was flexed. There's a triple flex together with Viego in the jungle now. Yeah, we're refreshing the memories.
All right,
it's all coming back to you.
No, it's definitely not. I'm going to furiously Google a little Laure VVV.
Remember when Viego and Gwen just came out? They were just turbo broken. They were triple flexed all the time.
I remember the turbo broken, but I'm going to hold my breath while we see where the Gwen ends up. But it looks like you're right. Gwen jungle for Selfmade. No CC, but a lot of dueling power. And I'm ready to see what it can do. I'm ready to see how much damage it can bust out. Selfmade, he gave me something spicy. It's not the Qiyana, but what I will say is, regardless of what Gwen can do in the jungle, not a lot of reliable tankiness. Rakan, the sole engage factor, a lot of pressure on Labrov to make that work. But on the opposite side for SK Gaming, it's really simple. You have a lot of tools to make a wombo combo happen, and if anybody dies, Gilius gets resets. Feels like a straightforward game plan for SK.
You're saying that until we see the cast that moves them all away from the Orianna shockwave and the non-synergy shows. But yeah, you're completely right. This is the ease of execution we want to see from the side of SK Gaming. We want to see them just get the early game right. It's something we've seen they struggle a little bit with, and they often rely on getting a team fight in the late game to really crawl themselves back into the game. On the side of Vitality, well, you're playing for that top side. You have a Jayce there. It's super easy to play for. Bot lane more facilitating. Corki and Perkz, always a joy to watch. And then obviously, the Gwen. We need to keep track of this champion in the early game.
I cannot wait to see what the Gwens came out. Now, we haven't seen Gwen in any major leagues yet, but we've seen it in a lot of ERLs, Czechoslovakia, we've seen it in Italy, there's been a lot of different places, but Selfmade, of course, an enthusiast of the solo queue ladder, I'm sure has seen this tech in his games. Wonder how it's performed in scrims, and certainly want to see how it's going to stack up against SK Gaming. Team Vitality, heavy expected favorites. Yes, week 1 was a tragedy, but week 2, Vitality were unleashed. Can SK fight back here in week 3? All right, Here's the deal,
Okay,
Mr. Guldborg.
talk me through it.
First, we're going to wait to see if anyone's going to murder each other. Because I generally get really excited as a play-by-play caster, and I start trying to make a point, and then people start fighting, and then I have to keep talking.
You seem decent, you seem good. Oh, I say
Okay.
that, but okay, Nautilus moving in. Jenax coming around with Alphari.
Oh.
There we have it, Flash Force.
Well-timed Kit Kat adverse. They're taking a break. They're going to flash out of that one.
You
They're
know,
going to walk
props to
away.
you from learning of that experience too. You know, taking it chill here in the early game.
Look, in my many years of casting, what I've learned is I'm never really prepared for what's going to happen in a game of League of Legends, so you just kind of account for all variables. The Gwen jungle I did not account for. It's Ghost, it's Conqueror, and I'm ready to see what it can do. And Guldborg, we have a lot to talk about. We got Perkz, we got all this Vitality lineup. We want to look at the SK bottom lane. We want to see a little bit of trading here. Sertuss, yeah, he wins that mid lane matchup when they're both 100% health. I don't know how it goes when you're 50% health before the lane even kicks off.
That's a bit sad to see, not gonna lie. Early warning come out, some good jungle tracking, we know that's important. But yeah, you're completely right. This matchup, usually in the mid lane, is supposed to be Orianna favored, but Perkz this time around should have a little bit of an easier time.
These guys need to chill for a second. Alphari, you're just gonna try to get the level 1 kill? All right, Jenax backing away. Good sidestep on the shock blast there. They're not interested in letting us talk.
Oh, no, definitely
they
not.
just want to murder each other, which is respectable. That is the name of the game here in the old League of Legends.
I mean, I did LPL in the past, so if you just want to take this away and just, you know, play-by-play wrap team fights for the rest of the game, you got it.
I think if you've been a part of LPL, you know that that's a 2-man operation, play-by-play casting. So brace yourself, my friend. We'll see what happens. That said, a lot to talk about when it comes to these two teams. Look at the top of the score lines. Vitality is currently 2-3, but the important thing that we have to highlight is the disastrous week 1 and how that eventually became a monumental week 2 for this team. From nothing to everything felt like what we were getting from Vitality.
I think we're all disappointed with Vitality in the first week, and we were all going to throw away the idea of what a super team is. But coming into week 2, like, I thought all the issues they had in week 1 was almost completely gone. The ego picks, the mentality they came into the game with where they just disrespected their opponents were no longer there. And it just seemed like a team in week 2 that genuinely lived up to the expectations we had of them.
Absolutely. So when we come into this matchup and people hear us go, oh, that's, if you look at it as 2-3 team versus 1-4 team, and we say Vitality are heavy favorites, you might find that odd. But then you look at the nameplates on the Vitality side, you see the star-studded lineup, and if you saw the week 2, you can understand why this team, assuming they continue that performance, would be heavy favorites in this matchup. That said, SK, we're waiting to see what else they can show us. Week to week, as a relatively young roster in terms of time spent playing together, you expect to see lots of development, but it's a long season. Maybe week 3 is the week where SK finally show up.
I hope so, really, because I had high expectations, especially to the SK bot lane coming into the split as well. You know, Jezu, Treatz finally reunited, but hold on to that thought. Both junglers completely mimicking each other.
The Laure battle. Selfmade now going to walk away. The Ghost now coming out. Good little bit of damage, trading back and forth. I know a lot of people like Arcane as a show.
Oh, yeah?
But did you play Ruined King the game? Because this is the simulation we're getting right now. Hold that thought. Viego now going in. Gilius going to get some good damage down. If he gets the reset, if Alphari drops, this could be big. Gilius now stepping forward. Is he playing with fire? That's going to be first blood. He's going to pick up the Jayce. A little bit of healing, a little bit of power, but here comes Perkz. Jenax gets one back in the end of the day. Bloodbath on the top side.
Oh, and there you have it. Double buff onto Perkz. That's going to be huge on a Corki here. You get to just free farm. Once you hit level 6, you just pull out these rockets in lane all the time. So first blood on the side of SK. Not bad, but in the end, it is still traded back to the side, by the side of Vitality. Lane, how's the lane states looking? Well, it's looking fairly even. Slow push from Alphari into Jenax, so he can pick up this wave here, which is going to be phenomenal down towards the bot lane.
Big hook. Labrov, pretty easy for him to dash away. Treatz can't really afford to overcommit there. Jezu, not really close enough to follow up instantly with the feathers. A little bit of a slow bot lane right now. I love Boot's start on Jhin into this matchup. How's she ever going to hit those feathers if you're fast? Carzzy, a very fast boy early on. Jhin, the only champion you should start Boots on if you're a young AD carry player and you're wondering, wow, is it really that strong? Only Jhin. Do not do this on any other champion, you degenerates.
Yeah, but up towards the top side, like, I finally like this from SK Gaming. We get to see them try and punish the fact that Alphari did not have flash from that level 1. And the early game presence is really something we've lacked from SK2. At best, they quite often go even into the mid game, but this time around, they tried to take charge of it. They tried to go for these plays here. That's the respectable part of it. Good layered up damage. And almost gets the better of it, but Perkz having that priority in the mid lane arrives before Sertuss and therefore is able to clean up the kills.
Yeah, and of course at the point, they know Perkz is roaming, but at that point they just have to commit to the play because there's realistically no way out. If Jayce gets another combo, you're not going to survive for that one. So well played to keep it even. Gold still within touching distance, and again, early game, the big thing we're keeping our eye on for SK Gaming, because for the most part, it has not been pretty, Guldborg. This is a team that's been down on average 1.7K, 9th in the league for early leads, on average usually behind in deaths and kills as well, so need to see if they can step it up. Right now, for Sertuss in the mid lane, he's suffering a little bit, not too far behind in CS, but you can see Perkz with this double buff, so easy for him to sustain pressure.
That's the thing. But one thing SK has been decent at doing is keeping the cross-mapping going for them. Even if they go down these gold deficits, they are sometimes able to trade some objectives. If they're getting dived on the top side, they will still get a little Drake for themselves. The biggest problem for SK is this never becomes a bigger lead for them. They really struggle to exponentially grow their own lead. And it's one of the things that's keeping them on this 1-4 scoreline. It's just that they seem disjointed once it comes to that mid game, or at least here in the early game, trying to set themselves up for the mid game rather.
Yep. Keeping our eyes on early itemization for now. It's just the tier farm fest. Gragas going tier into the tanky build. He is not one of the great tank abusers, unlike Akali, as we saw last game, courtesy of Armut. Remains popular despite the nerfs, but now with level 6 in tow for Perkz, Dragon potentially on the table. We saw the Olaf getting things kicked off very early. We'll see how quickly Gwen can shred through a major objective like that. Obviously has some decent percentage damage in her kit.
But this time around, it's also a little bit different because with the Jhin, it's become a fight away from the bot lane rather than in the bot lane. Whereas week 2 for Vitality, they had a lot of resources going to the side of Carzzy and Labrov. They had the Thresh, they had the Jinx. This time around, facilitation on the Jhin, and therefore you're moving out on the rest of the map. So setting up this Drake might take a little longer than it used to in the past.
Yep. And here's the tough news. Guldborg, hold that thought. See if the trade's gonna happen here. Moments ago, I was like, wow, 44 to 40 CS. Mid lane's going great. Then Perkz forced Sertuss back without a teleport, and now it's a 12 CS deficit. Now there's a plate in favor of Perkz, and things are getting hard very, very quickly. You can see individual gold lead. Thank you, observers. Incredibly well timed. 900 gold. Maybe they're going to try to get some of that back here. Labrov locked up. The Ignite now ticking, but they can't finish the dive. The grand entrance is a grand exit. They're going to be able to walk away.
What more can they get out of it right now? Because you can see Gilius is moving. Perkz right now on the minimap is also backing, which means that Sertuss can make his way down towards the bottom side. So Vitality bot lane, they'll have to give up this wave. They may not get dived rather. They will certainly have to lose some resources.
Brav only level 5. Treatz now going to step forward. They're going to try to force the play. The lockup is there, but they've locked him up under tower. Treatz now flashing onto safety. Carzzy trying to finish the job. Ulti is there. He just needs enough space to use it. Trying to find the lineup. Trying to find the shot. They can body block for him, but that dive's not working out. And here comes Perkz. Here comes the package. Whoa, does he want to commit?
Can he jump in on this one?
Jezu's in trouble, but he has level 6. Keep that in mind. Has to ult early. Flash back to safety. Going to try to throw some damage back into Perkz. Sertuss on the way down. Feather's not going to connect whatsoever. And in the meantime, Selfmade, you can see it taking Herald at no cost to himself while everyone else is on the opposite side of the map.
For a second, I thought it was Alphari soloing that Rift Herald, but no, obviously, once again, it is Selfmade on the Gwen in the jungle. So no one comes out ahead in that. Actually, it's a good play from SK to deny a few resources. They get the package taken away as well. So in the grand scheme of things, that's actually quite good. Now you can't use this package for the Drake. It's not a huge victory from the side of SK. You take the small ones you can get. But obviously, Rift Herald did go over to Vitality. What's up?
That was a little too much hopium, bro.
Bro, I
know what you're doing, and I appreciate it. And
I need it.
And the gold right now, it's only 600 difference. It's not too bad. Alphari might solo kill Jenax here, though, because that's a fully proc Conqueror. You're going to have to force that ult out. Jenax going to have to walk away. They got Herald in that exchange, dude. It was Herald for
the thing with Herald is, the thing with Herald is, right? The thing with Herald, I'm just saying, the thing with Herald is, it's kind of like investing in something. You don't know the full value of it before you actually pop it here, and you get some plates with the turret. And see, the other side of the mic, they got a Drakos. It's not too bad.
Okay, all right, I'll give you that. You sound a little like a crypto bro, but I'll still give it to you. You know what I mean? I might not understand why the monkey picture's worth money, but sometimes the monkey picture's worth money. All right, we're figuring it out. We're learning as we go. We'll see where the Herald ends up to decide in the end who made the better investment. But for now, 1,000 gold difference between these teams, mostly made up previously from that mid lane, although you can see some individual discrepancies coming out across the map. Alphari in the top lane now, despite what would look to be a pretty solid CS advantage, you can see that kill making up the difference in keeping Alphari and Jenax within touching distance.
Yeah, also that, but just Perkz alone with a 1,000 gold lead by himself down the mid lane. So he shouldn't really struggle to get mid lane priority now that he has this blue buff. And we're talking about a Rift Herald, of course you want your mid laner to move for that play as well. So Perkz, if he can build up this mid wave, then wait for it to crash with a bigger one, move down towards the bot side, it should be a winning play from the side of Vitality. And you can already see they're trying to set it up a little bit with Selfmade down towards the bot lane, camping in a bush.
Always excited for that. Perkz knows both sides of this matchup very well. And again, a lot of this goes back to play on the top side where he gets double buffs and the play at level 1 where they have held Sertuss before lane even starts. I feel bad for Sertuss because honestly, individual 1v1 we'll never know about because Perkz has been able to get so many advantages elsewhere and get so much support elsewhere. And sadly for Gilius, yes, he's finally coming to this lane. Second time. First time was just to catch a wave while his mid laner was back. Second time, there's no gank to be had. Super difficult early game for the SK mid laner.
Yeah, and they just keep funneling over to the side of Perkz, which is not going to make his situation easier here. Labrov also on a roam timing where you can see SK's bot lane, they just reset. So there's really no help to get in this one. Perkz might pick up the 4th plate there for himself, and yes, 4,800. 11 minutes into the game on this Corki. It's not what you want to see as an SK, but as Vitality right now, you're over the moon.
Absolutely. And there's something that Vitality are doing right now that you were actually the first person to point out to me, Guldborg. We're gonna hold that thought because that's the root going in. Sertuss flashing, but here comes Labrov. That's a lot of flashes and a dead Sertuss down. Gilius walking into the area, but I don't think there's a play here to be made. They could play for that last tower as they leap forward. Perkz, does he have the Valk cooldown up? Gilius is trying to slow this down, but feels mostly like a spectator sport there, just using some abilities so we can watch that one drop.
Yeah, God Gilius coming by, but what's a god to a non-believer? So Vitality keeping up the pressure. And once again, it's something that came off the priority we see on the map here. As soon as Vitality's bot lane had the first move, instead of resetting, they went up with the Rift Herald to go with the play, catching SK lacking, catching them sleeping, while no one is able to make a response to it. So SK, they get nothing out of it on the rest of the map because they're not out of the map.
To be fair, they caught them sleeping because they put them to sleep.
Yeah, that's
Guldborg.
true.
It was sort of a night-night moment. They kind of just killed that guy in the mid lane. Sertuss had to take a nap. He's fallen further and further behind, and moments ago, at the start, it was like 600 gold. Ooh, not too bad for SK. It's like, oh, 1,000 gold. Maybe SK are going to be okay here. Oh, 3,000 gold. See, things are looking hard, and things are only getting harder. And now we look at the ISK side, and it's what avenues do you actually have back into the game? What would you like to see SK do in this situation, Guldborg?
Well, see, the thing is, the way they come back and that one victory they had against Mad Lions was relying on the scaling asset and hold that thought because
maybe
SK...
it's a roam topside to bring him back. Alphari taking a lot of damage, locked up. Good chain CC combo there. Jenax and Treatz getting some work done.
But good roam there. Nice to see from Treatz. There's not really a way to them to punish right now. You can see Labrov is trying to come back from the back in the bot lane, try and zone Jezu away from resources, but actually, it's Vitality not really in a position to punish here, so SK really good roam up there from the side of Treatz.
Yeah, sadly, we have to see how much it costs him. As you can see, that SK losing a lot of control on the bottom side. Labrov free to roam in, to push in. You saw there on the bottom side, Selfmade taking camps away as well, and Perkz just such a strong pressure point for the team overall. Good news, they get the TP out of Alphari, they get the kill down on the Jayce. Jenax has a little bit more items in his inventory. Gilius has got a first item completed, but again, it's a cloud with just a few silver linings.
But then again, it's the team composition they have again on SK. You have possibilities to become really scary in a team fight. You have the possibilities to find a pick with the Nautilus. But right now, if you find this pick, you might not even win out on it because you just don't have the items or the damage to really facilitate finding a pickup. So it's, for SK, once again, somehow holding on, making sure that they don't take away too many resources. But that's the thing with Vitality. That was the thing they've really showed how good they actually were doing in Week 2. Get advantages in lane and start taking over the enemy jungle. As soon as they start taking over the enemy jungle, not only are you taking away their camps, you're also gaining extra camps for yourself, so you're just growing the lead double there.
Absolutely. And I love that. I love anytime you can take away an enemy camp, how it's the double gold value because you're denying it from someone else.
Exactly.
SK set up for bottom side play, and important to note, we have seen so many games this season come down to single fights in the mid to late game. So while, yes, Vitality are wildly far ahead, think back to Excel Misfits. Gold within touching distance, but it was Excel who had 3 Drakes. Misfits win a fight, instantly the game is over. While Vitality's lead is pretty large here, because we've seen that situation happen so many times, giving SK just that little benefit of the doubt, that small percentage that as long as they can win some fights, they have a way to come back in this game.
That's the thing, but now I also want to bring in the reality hammer here for a second.
Sure.
Give it a little bunk to the broadcast.
It's a bad hammer.
I know. We're not supposed to use that one, but but the fact is you have a poke composition on Vitality too. You can keep SK at a grounding level where they're not going to be finding themselves in a position to actually capitalizing on having a teamfight composition. If you can poke them out before the objective even starts, if you can stop them from getting to a point where they can even come close to a teamfight, then they can't play the game. And that's what they can do with the tools they have. You have a Jayce, becomes super annoying at 3 items. You're going poke Corki with the AP build, but I'm going to hold that for as SK trying to contest the Herald.
Treatz getting frisky there. The shockwave goes in, but it's only going to connect on the Selfmade. Labrov locking up 3. Jenax coming to the area, but he has to wait for the Rakan ult to fade away. SK walking away, and a Rakan going to come in. Perkz on a killing spree. A little thumb heart coming in there from Selfmade. And now Gilius is going in. He's fishing for the reset. Perkz incredibly low. He can grab that pretty powerful Corki and try to get some work done, but he's still just so squishy. Selfmade now stepping forward. SK, at the end of the day, 3K gold lead just about even, but Vitality are going to walk away with the Herald.
Yeah, once again, Rift Herald's going to be super nice for opening up the side lanes. They've already taken care of the mid lane. So now we need to start tripping away some of that side lane towers instead. But taking a look at the replay, like, it looks ambitious from the side of SK. They're way too late to the play. They can't even contest on the Rift Herald. But once again, Treatz finds a Nautilus hook onto Perkz, who's ready for it with a stopwatch. Jenax joining the fight a little late, and they're so split up here. Sertuss is already so low before the rocket picks him up. And then,
you know, that shockwave is so close to hitting. It could have been a very different fight if Perkz is instantly killed at the start. Instead, Gilius gets this body pretty late, and sadly, in melee range, no matter how strong your Corki is, Gwen is a terrifying threat to deal with.
Definitely, but I mean, Gilius is able to get out alive. Valkyrie away, Heartbreaker as well. So getting that shot down, not too bad. But the main thing is, the one with the most kills on your team right now is the Gragas, and he is building a little bit of AP, but he's not the one you're hoping for. He's going to tear up the opponents on Vitality, but definitely someone you can still try and look for some cheeky pick potential with. Taking stock at the map, we are just having resets coming through now. You can see Vitality with Rift Herald in hand should be looking up towards the top side here. Perkz, after he's gotten this blue buff, should be able to continuously have that pressure in the mid lane to move around with Selfmade, and they're just going to skip that step because they already have the pressure in the mid lane. And they're moving up towards the top side, rotating before the members of SK can join.
Yeah, SK miles away. Herald being used top side. You can see instant pings on the bottom side. Treatz and Jezu were going to go for the recall. Instead, they're now committing, knowing that they have to push and try to get a cross map, try to get something back. Jenax still in the area, going to be zoned away here by Selfmade. Crucially, if this Herald gets another charge, Vitality could look to put another 650 in their pocket and break this tower. Jenax instead burning all of his spells to try to stop the charge. Gilius needs to get in there with the smite and stop this. Still going to go through. They're just going to break this tier 2 for free, but now Jenax has no ult to disengage, so Selfmade just gets to walk forward. One tower taken down in the meantime on the bottom side by SK, but overall, hugely positive trade for Vitality.
Yeah, and once again, the zoning control from the bot lane in that exchange too was so good. Started out of the bot lane, Carzzy and Labrov moved themselves to the mid lane, and then they start zoning them out in the red side jungle to make sure that they can't just walk up and stop the Rift Herald from charging through. Vitality coming in with, great team play, which once again was something we lacked in week 1, but they continue to show that they have now in week 3 as well.
And I think the big thing here that people have to understand is we had to cap how many team Vitality graphics we could get because they all tell the same story. Week 1 very bad, week 2 very good, but week 2 was very, very good. And week 3, against SK, admittedly, one of the teams lower down in the standing, continues to be a similar story. So it feels like that was the fluke, that this is the real Vitality, that the super team on paper has finally become the super team in reality. That said, we'll hold our breath because there's a lot of high, top-of-the-table matchups coming where Vitality has the chance to challenge some of the currently better teams. But for now, Vitality definitely dominating SK in this one. 4K gold advantage. Drakes are tied. They are in total control of the map. And you talked about the poke being a problem. Definitely a bigger problem when the Corki has 2 items now.
Oh yeah, especially just before the 20-minute mark. You can see at SK's inventory right now, the only one with 2 items is your Gragas up towards the top side. The rest of them barely just coming in with it, or they're close to finishing some of them in the mid lane. Sertuss still waiting for his Seraph embrace as well. And you can see the lane assignments right now from the side of Vitality. Keep your bot lane in the mid lane. Make Perkz recall now. He's probably going to be picking up the package. And with that package picked up, it's this great music coming through as well. They really
I'm not sure if they can. I hope they can hear that on stream. This is wonderful. It's so dramatic.
It's like an anime opening or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a bit of a one-sided anime at the moment, but if Jenax, I swear, if Jenax comes over the wall, like, body slams and kills 3 people right now, it's scripted. There's nothing about it. Like, you can't line the music up that good and not have it be something greater. That said, SK now committing a huge member advantage in the mid lane, putting more members into the mid lane to try to make a play happen. Wow.
That was the big play we were waiting for.
That was the big play we were waiting for.
Jenax
Jenax frustrated with that one. Selfmade sneaks away the Drake. The whole thing SK were trying to brute force for. They will not grab. Vitality so strong. Perkz on the backside. Keep your eyes on that package. Where's it going to go? Perkz in the middle of everybody with Labrov. It's perfect, but what will it cost them? Gilius remains standing. He's trying to finish the kill. Curtain call coming away from the back line. Carzzy now running and trying to finish the job. Gilius, he gets one back, but he has to run. It's an absolute slaughter. He's going to go down two. That's an ace at 20 minutes.
And that's the difference between a good and a great team as well. A good team will take the Drake, walk away. A great team will look for that fight, clean up the entire enemy team, and start up the Baron immediately after snowballing that gold lead. Vitality showing up in that team fight.
Incredible play. Looked close in some instances, in some of those early skirmishes. The level 1 favoring Vitality, that topside play at the end of the day, a 2v2, but you can see here, the second SK make this mistake, Vitality smell blood in the water and they move in for the punish.
Yeah, and you know, it's great presence of mind from the side of Carzzy as well. Just use that Gale Force immediately. Then SK, they're trying to run out, but they're all running out in this choke point, and it's absolutely perfect for Corki to just dump in here. You can see it as well. Labrov flashing forward for the quickness grand entrance. And it's just, we say fish a barrel sometimes. That was literally like shooting fish in a barrel from the side of Vitality. It was!
I mean, you're right. And that's the thing, when you're at that deficit, when the enemy champions are... And not only was it really fed Corki, it was really fed Corki with the package. Now, to the surprise of no one, it's a Baron power play.
Hey, one of your
8K gold
graphics
lead.
is working.
One of the graphics is... No, all the graphics work. My buttons are broken, Guldborg. You have to bear with me.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
You can't drag the graphics, guys. They're not going to take... They're going to do a Guldborg is stinky graphic next, and you're not going to like that. I'm just saying, you got to be careful.
Guy, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry.
Prompter, you don't mess with the prompter either. They can make you read that wrong. Burgundy style, you got to be. You respect.
You're the one reading the prompt. I'm not going to step on that now.
If it says your name, Guldborg, you got to read the prompter. Those are the rules. And the rules right now for SK are hold on for dear life. Massive disadvantage here. Potential, not the last hold by any means, but if they get wiped again, Vitality could move in for the end. That said, Orianna, great wave clear. Control Mage has that reliable clear. Can stop at least some of these pushes. But you can see Vitality playing on 2 lanes here, splitting up. So they're going to commit to this play on Selfmade. They're going to deny it, and he just goes down. Curtain call. And every caster in the world has said this one once before, but it's curtains for SK.
I think someone should tell SK that Gwen is immune as well there, throwing in a shockwave in the Hallowed Mist. Not the greatest pickup, but you can see it. SK, they're just desperate. At this point, does it really matter? No, it probably doesn't. They're just looking for something. And Hail Mary play. And it's what they have to do, but at this point in the game, Drakos, I don't see much happening, although.
Big damage. Pull the feathers back. Now they're getting... Oh, no, they're dead. That was all the follow-up. All the other members of Vitality showed up. The cast goes down. The laughing Carzzy emote comes out. That should be all she wrote. Fish in the barrel. Whatever you want to say about it, Guldborg. Vitality so far ahead. SK, again, grasping at straws, looking for that little sliver, that little glimmer of hope, but a lot of that relies on Vitality making a mistake, and it just does not happen.
Yeah, and the thing is, we're only 23 minutes into the game, so the dev timer's not actually that high, even after a team fight like that.
That's true.
I mean, it's a good pickup initially from Treatz. Like, you find this pickup when you're at even footing, this is great for you. You can get the pick on Perkz, you can disengage, but problem is, that's just not how the world works.
Okay, the thing I love about that play, support mains watch that. Labrov waits. He says, please walk in, hit my carry. The second they do, instantly hits 3 people with the quickness into knockup. Jayce damage comes over and they die. If he'd gone in immediately, yeah, Perkz might live there. Sure, but they might not have been able to get those follow-up kills. Instead, just an absolute slaughter.
So what Drakos is saying is sacrifice your mid laner, wait for the highlight play, put it in the montage, clip it and ship it, boys.
Sometimes you need to save your allies. Sometimes you use them as bait. Those are the rules of League of Legends.
I mean, Sertuss has been used as bait 4 times, then that has really come up with...
Look, I'm just...
Yeah?
It's like... You can't just beat the dead horse in this case. We know. I respect it. Sometimes you got to go for the kick when they're down, but they're down, my friend. We'll let them.
To be fair, I feel like Sertuss is one of the rookies that's actually held their own for a very long time, but Vitality, they're just not, that's not enough to beat them, unfortunately.
Well, and that early game was rough for him, no doubt. Level 1 was difficult. Perkz coming back with double buffs, super hard. We'll see what he can do in games to come. But for now, They're not going to be able to get much of anything. Last chance, last potential fight for SK. They win here, maybe they can buy themselves a bit more time. They lose, that's going to be a big hook. Shockwave going in, hitting 2, that's massive. Curtain call coming from the backside, 2 members already down. Labrov trying to get some fall, but there's no damage there. Gilius has now become the Gwen. He's looking for a little bit more. Labrov getting taken down. Gilius with a shutdown. He's become the Rakan. He's leaping in. Gilius is in Manland. SK, let's go! That's a way to bring it back. They haven't won the game, but they bought themselves a bit of time.
And this is how they do it every time. SK, they find their comfort zone in the late game, but outside of their Nexus, is it too late? I don't know. There's still objective bounties for them to pick up, and they're going to be having a look at the Drake. And what a beautiful setup as well in that team fight. Not even have to sacrifice your mid laner.
Look, it worked out. Sertuss fighting back. That was 20 minutes of lane phase bullying taken out in a single team fight right there. Bam, 2-man, all you need to come back.
Beautiful layering as well. Labrov trying to go in, but it's already too late when the members has already died. Stopwatch not going to save you, and Treatz, the flash forward to finding that pickup was crucial then into picking up the Rakan. So mobile for Gilius, which allows him to flash forward and catch Perkz off guard. SK, what a way to keep this game entertaining.
All right, now we take a breath, and you're gonna bring out that hammer you did earlier. That's the reality hammer.
Okay.
Still gigantic frickin'
It's here.
deficit. This game for SK is still a mountain to be climbed. They had a good moment, no doubt. They deserve credit for executing in that fight, but Vitality maybe took a bit too big of a risk, and you expect them to temper some of that aggression. A single mistake from SK at this point, with their base so wide open, will cost them the game. Is this going to be it? Treatz looking for the knockup. Gwen delayed for a brief moment, but Treatz is going to be in trouble. Jenax can come over the wall. Labrov in the area as well. Perkz over the wall too. Jezu so incredibly low. That's going to be ulti, but he burned it so early. Look at that damage coming in for the Corki. Treatz now running ignited. That's the curtain call. 1-2, finding Jenax, not the target that they need. Jezu still alive in the base, but no flash, no heal, means this is all but over. In fact, it's just over. Vitality moving in. Gilius is dead, no threat of the reset. They're gonna break open the base. They gave him 1 moment, and SK took it, but they're not gonna give him anything else. 27 minutes, 30 seconds, maybe a little longer if they wanna play their food. Vitality absolutely demolishing SK.
Vitality brought their own reality hammer just outside of after that play. And you cannot blame them. Caught slipping once. Shame on me, but twice. I mean, hey, that's not how the saying goes. Wait a minute.
Look, man.
Anyways, for Vitality, that's how it goes in that instance.
Yeah, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice.
Just
won't get
reverse it.
fooled
It'll
again.
make sense.
There it is. Incredible game from Vitality, continuing to play at the level that we saw in Week 2, which is beginning to feel more and more like the true form of this team. We'll see how they improve week to week. On the opposite side for SK, improvement, sadly, is immediately necessary. You can't fall too far behind. They have 3 games left in the first round robin. To end on a single win would feel like an absolute death sentence. And while, yes, miracle runs can happen, that miraculous team fight was the only bit of it that we got in the game.
You take all those
Guldborg.
small good things, like you had a decent early game, you blew flash on Alphari, but you were just read as well by Selfmade, the mid priority. If Sertuss doesn't have that horrible laning phase where he just gets poked out, maybe the lane priority would have been on SK, and then you could have voted forward.
Maybe. In the meantime, though, Kia player of the game at LEC on Twitter, Selfmade, Perkz, Labrov, those are going to be your options. Follow your heart. A lot of good options, a lot of good moments. I'm not going to tell you to pick. But we're soon going to hear from the victorious Selfmade after the break. Before we go, we're going to listen to Ilo Milo, if that's how you pronounce it, by MBNN and Roald Stain. That's the Warner Song of the Week. Of course, make sure to check it out on the official LEC playlist on Spotify.